here for another video. Now this video is a long overdue video of 5 things that annoy me about this car. 5 things I hate about the 2017 Honda Civic Hatchback. This is a great car. By no means do I hate this car at all. It's probably the best bargain out there for a new car. Utility, you know, if you haven't yet, go ahead and watch that. 5 things I love about this car. You'll see how much I do love this car, but no car is perfect, and there are still 5 things that do annoy me with this car. So with that, let's go ahead and start. So, the e-brake. Now, I know I've mentioned the e-brake before, but I have to mention it again. It's something that I feel should not be in a sports car. Now, this is not really a sports car, but even in the Type R, you find the electronic e-brake. So that's something that I really don't like that they did, but they have it and you gotta live with it, right? So my biggest problem with the electronic e-brake is that when it snows, you have to have fun sometimes. All you just have to do is yank on the e-brake. Now, you can't really do that. The other thing is, I really am so used to just yanking on the e-brake when I park the car that, you know, getting used to the little button is a little bit, you know, different to me, a little bit weird to me. Especially since they still have all the other cars that all have the regular e-brake. The 335D has a regular e-brake, the Prelude and the S2000, they all have regular e-brakes, just like a car should. So that's the e-brake. The brakes. Now the brakes is not something that I've actually mentioned before, but it's definitely something that I've noticed is a weak point in this car, especially if you drive very enthusiastically or you're canyon carving or going to an autocross or the track. So I've actually taken this car pretty aggressively down canyon roads, things like that, and after about 15 minutes of interesting and fun driving, the brakes kind of fade. And what I've also noticed is that in really high speeds, when you brake, they're kind of shaky a little bit. Not shaky in terms of wobbly, they just kind of lose their strength. And I think the biggest problem is that they're too small. They're way too small. Take a look. Here we can see how small the brakes are, especially compared to the wheel size. They could have put much bigger rotors in there. I think if you drive this car even remotely aggressively, those rotors are gonna get warped very quickly. So that's the front one. The back ones are even smaller. Good grief, could they have gotten any smaller? I definitely think this car could benefit from a bigger brake kit. So, as you can see, the brakes are tiny, they're small, especially compared to the large wheel diameter. So you can fit much bigger brakes. So if you're going to take this car to the track often, or you're going to drive it very spiritedly often, my recommendation is that you look for a big brake kit. Willwood has one out. It's kind of expensive, but I'm sure other aftermarket companies are going to come out with big brake kits for this car. I'm going to take a look actually myself at the Civic Si and even the Type R to see if those fit in here and what I would have to do to swap them in. So those are the brakes. Rev hang. What is rev hang? If you haven't noticed or realized by now, watching all my videos, I'll show you right now. It's when you're going through the turn, you want to shift and it stays. See that? Revolutions just stay up there. Let's show it again. See that? Stays up there. So when you're trying to get to your next shift, not smooth. Now, for some people, for whatever reason, it doesn't bother them. But it bothers me a whole lot. Try it again. See that? And I let go of the pedal, but it just stays on. The problem with it is that the fuel cutoff doesn't actually cut off when you let go of the accelerator pedal due to emissions purposes. The fuel tank. Normally, most people probably wouldn't have too much of a problem with the fuel tank. It is a 12 or 13 gallon tank, I believe, something in that range. I always have to fill it up between 10 and 11 gallons, and that's simply just not enough for me. I drive a lot. I have almost 10,000 miles on this car now, and I've only bought it in November of last year, so that's less than a year and almost 10,000 miles. It's a lot of driving. And when I'm going back and forth from New York to Pennsylvania, you know, I put in 80 to 90 miles each way. So, you know, I go to the gas station, and then I take one trip, and then I go to the supermarket, and then I need to get gas again. It's kind of annoying sometimes. So the gas tank is a little bit small, something I had to get used to. You know, the BMW 335D that I have, 600 miles for the tank that gives me. This, around 350 to 400 at most at the high end. So that's the gas tank. And finally we get to the exhaust. Now the exhaust is the most disappointing part of this car. Everything else you can kind of live with. The rev hang, very annoying, but it's livable. The small gas tank, you just kind of plan around it. The e-brake, you know, your electronic e-brake, the paddle, you get used to it after a while. But the exhaust, that's something that's gonna have to change after a little bit of time. So the exhaust, you don't hear it. Take a look. So as you can see, all you really hear are the tire noises and the engine noise. And let's rev it up here. And what you're hearing there is the engine. You're not hearing the exhaust almost at all, which is fine for most applications. Honestly, if you're commuting every day in this car and you're kind of just a commuter, you're not really a sporty driver, then the exhaust is fine. It's not a big deal at all. But when you want to kind of get into it, you want to hear the exhaust, so you don't have to look down at the RPMs just to know when you're shifting. It helps, you know. When you hear the exhaust note, it helps with your shifting, and that's really helpful if you're driving it very fast or on a track or things like that. So really the two big things for me are the brakes, the exhaust. The other three things, they are where they are. Luckily, the brakes and the exhaust are something that I can upgrade in the car. So I'm going to be looking into, like I said, a Honda tune, an exhaust, and some brakes to see if this car is worth it. There is one wild card that I can throw in there, and I'm actually thinking about getting a Type R. Yeah, you heard it here first, guys. So I'll share some thoughts on that some other day. Anyway, so here's a question for you. What is your least favorite part of your car? I want to see that in the comments, see what you dislike about your car the most, and what we can do about it. As always, thanks for watching. If you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe, hit the like button, share the video. Alright guys, I'll see you next time.
We've both been there before. When a love shuts the door, it's a losing game. It's a losing game. But this time it's more than another lot of war. This ain't the same. This ain't the same. They say